Good afternoon, everyone. 𝐒𝐭𝐮𝐝 here from PFEC Global. Today, what I intend to do is I'm just going to go with the flow, make a video about the observations that I made in the past 3 weeks, about the consultations that I've given to a large majority of students who are currently onshore, and they want to know what is the best way to get permanent residency. And I'm probably going to bring all of that into louder. Okay.
That's okay, we'll cut it out.
Yeah, cut it out. So basically, I want to share with you my observations from the advices that I've given in the past 2-3 weeks. Large majority onshore students, they want to know what are the PR pathways. They want to know what steps they should take in preparation for permanent residency. So my focus today is only going to be on the students who are expecting to complete their studies sometime this year, maybe in March or mid-year this year. And what are the things that you need to do? I have given advice to some of the students who haven't completed the studies. They require student visa extension. This is applicable if you're in that group of people, because regardless of what is going to be your visa status in Australia, you ultimately want to get PR. And to get PR, the first thing that comes to everybody's mind is skilled migration. And skilled migration is the easiest way to get permanent residency in Australia. So I'm going to go through a few points with you. I'm going to make this as visual as I can to help you understand what you need to do and how we can help you. So you're onshore, you're on a student visa. And what we want is PR. Now, you may, in some instances, you may not be able to get immediate PR, but the next best thing is PR, Subclass 491. Many people are familiar with this. I put SC, subclass. And when we're talking about PR, we're talking about subclasses 190 or 189. 189 typically very difficult to get because it's highly competitive. You need to have really high score, and I'll talk about scores as well. And but the good thing about the 189 visa is an independent visa. It's federal. You can be, you can go and get a job or live anywhere in Australia you want. There is no restriction. With the 190 visa and 491, there are some restrictions in place. For example, with the 190 visa, it's a state or territory nominated. You need to sign an undertaking that after the grant of the visa, you need to work and live in that state for 2 years. With the 491 visa, you need to live in a regional area of Australia. You cannot live in metro. You cannot work in metro. This is another question that you might find useful, because some people tell me, what if I live in a regional area but I work in metro? Cannot be done. Live and work needs to be done in a regional area. The 491, however, is very easy to convert to PR. All you need to do is to work 3 years in a regional area. 3 years work and live and work. And that 3 years has been pretty much squeezed into a 5 years visa. So the TR491 gives you 5 years of visa. All you need to do is to live and work, any type of work, in a regional area of Australia. After that, you can easily convert it to PR. So it's not that difficult. It's a better option for many people simply because their points are not enough, or sometimes you have an occupation that may not be on, for example, 190 or 189 occupation lists. Therefore, you're limited to 491. And I get many students in that situation. They have studied something that's probably not suitable for 190 or 189. Therefore, we go 491. Now, how to get here from here to there? First thing you need to do, you need a skill assessment. And I'm gonna share something funny with you. Sometimes I get visa refusals. People come to me and they don't have English language, or they have done wrong skill assessment. On rare occasions, but I had students who came to me and said, I don't have a skill assessment, I don't want to apply for a visa. Simply because I studied in Australia and I don't believe I need a skill assessment. It's not what you believe, it's what the government wants from you. So you need to have a skill assessment, you need to have English language. So English language, IELTS, for example. PTE, TOEFL, any English language which that you like and you feel comfortable. So PTE test is very popular, as is IELTS, simply because IELTS used to be very popular, but then PTE came in and became more popular simply because people find it easier to get to higher marks if they want, as opposed to IELTS. But you're on a student visa, the first thing you need to do, actually the first thing you need to do is to come and see me. We assess you and we give you a very detailed migration planning in writing, then you can refer to it. When I give you something in writing, it means I guarantee it. Guarantee that you're going to get close to the PR. I cannot guarantee you can get PR or TR, but we help you get very close to it. The rest is luck. So, skill assessment, number one. I'm going to share a trick with you. On some occasions, it is possible, based on what you studied and your prior work experience, that we get 1 or 2 skill assessment for you. So if money is not an issue, and I think money shouldn't be an issue for you, because Australian permanent residency is extremely lucrative, and many people want to migrate to Australia across the world. That's why you're here. You should consider a good investment for your PR. So if it is possible sometimes to get 1 or 2, on very rare occasions, 3 skill assessment from 2 or 3 different skill assessment authorities. What is the benefit of getting 2 or 3 or multiple skill assessments? It opens up PR pathways. Pathway 2. And then in the same context, we do actually offer services to our students to do parallel courses. So what are parallel courses? Like I get a lot of IT graduates. Now with the advent of AI, nobody can deny it. IT profession likely is going to get highly affected. It's extremely competitive to get permanent residency through IT. Therefore, we suggest you do a parallel course, or if you don't have a student visa, you can do it on your graduate work visa or your TR, Subclass 485. Let's say you're doing a master in IT, but IT probably not going to lead you to permanent residency so easily, because we're talking about 95 points, 100 points, 105 points, and the number of places available for IT graduates is shrinking. Therefore, we do offer parallel courses. Like you can do carpentry, you can do painting, or you can do bricklaying or tiling, for example. If you don't like any of these trade courses, we do offer other courses. ECT, Early Childhood Teachers. Okay, 1-year course, graduate diploma, based on today's laws, can easily turn into a PR, social worker. Speak to our counseling team. They're gonna tell you what courses are available, what you can do that can get you closer and closer to PR. Now, if you have, let's say, qualification in IT, and if you have done one of these courses, we can get 2 skill assessment for you. Based on your work experience, we may be able to get a 3rd one for you as well. So it means you have 3 opportunities to get to one of these visas. What I have observed in the past 18 years as a migration agent, I have noticed that sometimes one occupation gets knocked out of the occupation list, sometimes it comes back. Sometimes the points to get to that, to a PR under that pathway or under that occupation is lowered. So what you want is you need to open all of the doors to be able to enable all of your chances, enable all of your options to get to permanent residency. So skill assessment, first step. Then IELTS, PTE. Relevant to this, if your mother tongue is on the, what we call it as a CCL, or NATI, CCL, we deal with large number of subcontinent students. Some of the Indian languages, or Bengali, for example, is on the CCL NATI list. You can do an interpreting test with NATI organization and you can get additional 5 points. So these are all the points that are on the table for you to take. Very easy to do, especially if you have studied in Australia, speak good English. Large majority of our clients speak really good English. Therefore, it's very easy for them to pass the NATI test. You get that, that's easy 5 points. And sometimes you can make it or break it, because if you had, let's say, 80 points, you would have been selected in the invitation round. But if you have 75 points, you didn't get selected. All you needed to do was to do a NATI test. So, skill assessment, language, prepare. The rest is good migration planning. So my team is highly experienced in preparing applications for state nominations. And we are highly experienced in preparing and presenting the application. Many refusal cases we get, typically self-managed, is when the person has claimed, for example, 80 points on their EOI, they get selected, they get invitation from the Australian government, and then they go through the visa process. They apply for the visa because they wanted to save $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, not pay a registered migration agent to oversee the work. They get to PR decision making. Case of this is, I have assessed your application. You claimed 80 points, but I have determined you have 75 points. Therefore, according to the law, at the time of invitation and at the time of decision, you should have had equal points. Because you presumed that you're going to get 80 points, but the actual of the fact is that you had 75 points, you get visa refusal. And then you have spent thousands of dollars on visa application costs, skill assessment, the stress, and waiting. And most expensive was your luck, that by some luck you got invited. You lost all of that. And we can take it to tribunal, not a problem. We charge you some fees and we apply for tribunal, we're not going to get an outcome for it. So you can just delay your departure from Australia. I highly recommend that you do not do this yourself. Skill migration is one chance in a lifetime, I would tell you. You don't want to screw up. We prepare everything. So skill assessment, English, you can sometimes do this in sequence if you don't have the money or if you don't have the time. Because I know many of you work and you have an expensive life in Australia, but look, this is an investment well worth it. I always tell my clients, I said, if you spend $20,000 on getting your permanent residency, there are people outside Australia who are desperate to come to Australia. They're willing to sell their houses, spend $150,000, $200,000 just to get here, simply because within a year they can earn that money back. If you're already in Australia and you're a student and you're working, I was a student myself 20 odd years ago in Australia, and I worked really hard to pay for my fees, my living expenses, but now I'm actually enjoying the fruits. It's an investment well worth it. Sometimes I feel really bad when people come to me with a visa refusal. They wanted to save a few $100s or $3,000 by cutting costs, cutting corners here and there, but unfortunately they didn't know what they're doing and got a refusal. Anyway. After we go through a skill assessment, we typically find out what is the best state. Sometimes we recommend that you relocate at your own risk to another state to improve the chances of success. Sometimes we ask you to move to regions outside the larger cities, simply because it's better in terms of obtaining PR, or you have better prospects if you live in another region. Like we sometimes recommend people going to Perth now because, for example, the construction industry in Perth apparently is booming, and they require a lot of people who actually can do trade work there, or even ECT, early childhood teaching, because now Australian population with the migrants coming in, they all fall in love, they have children and families, and both couples work, so they need someone to take care of their children. We are a working country. Therefore, all of these are given, and by the same token, we've got disability work, for example. The NDS, there's a lot of money allocated by the Australian federal government towards the NDS. Therefore, we need disability workers, for example. So yeah, basically, we recommend what state, how to increase or improve your chances by increasing your scores. Sometimes we tell you maybe the course that you're doing is not suitable, drop out of it, do something else. Completely fine sometimes. And basically, we get you to the invitation as close as we can. And then once you get an invitation, the most critical part is the visa. Remember, I was telling you the points. So we ensure that your points are accurately reflected. I'm generally conservative. I like to keep the points as minimum as possible. And then if you have additional points, then fine. Because if you get selected based on the minimum points that you have, it's better. As an example, I can give you carpenters now getting invited, or bricklayers, by 65 points. If you're a carpenter, for example, and you have 85 points, I'm not interested in 85 points because I know with 70 points you're going to get invited. So if I have to be extremely conservative, if you're in doubt about some of your points, we're not going to claim it. As simple as that. We put you through the 80 points with 75 points because we know you're going to get invited based on 65 points, based on historical data. But look, that's how I approach it, and I have always gotten results. And I've always been comfortable advising clients that way. So that's what we do. We put you through state nomination. If you have to relocate, we'll help you with that. And then the visa process. We advise you what you need to do, what documents you need. I have seen people getting visa refusals because they didn't provide proper documents. Immigration, for example, typically doesn't get satisfied that the work experience that you're applying is genuine. If you get that, you get an invitation from the immigration department. We call that section 57, means your visa is gone. You cannot do anything about it. You can respond because immigration has made a decision or determination that based on the evidence that you provided, you're going to get visa refusal. They provide you with an opportunity to give them a submission why your visa shouldn't be refused. Generally, in those situations, we cannot do much because the damage has already been done. We have to restart the whole process. Therefore, it's important that you have a professional overlooking your entire process to make sure that the entire process is done properly, presentation is done properly, and there is no error. I hope you found this session useful. Feel free to give our office a call, make an appointment with myself or my team. I have a very experienced team. We would be able to help you every step of the way. Obviously, we have offices across Australia. We've got a very strong migration team. We have helped thousands of students to get PR, and we've got thousands more of students coming up in the years to come. I look forward to seeing you. Thank you very much for your time and listening to me.